Well, my father joined Rotary, I believe, in about 1933 or thereabouts, and was in Rotary for 34 years until he had to retire because he had a stroke in the 60s. And I got to know a lot of the members at the time. They used to come to our house for group meetings and so on. There used to be Rotary picnics. And I got to know a lot of the members of the Rotary. They were all good men and good people to be with and so on. I was invited to join Rotary by my then boss, late Lou Barrett. And I did. And I'm very glad I did. The Rotary has a long list of different fellowships. They call them fellowships: fellowship of sailing and flying, golf, and all manners of sports and pastimes, reading, films, theatre, drama, all that sort of stuff, all around the world. And it is a worldwide fellowship that I belong to, the International Fellowship of Flying Rotarians, IFFR. It has a head office in England at the moment, and it has members all over the world. The Flotilla for Kids was there to raise some money, and the idea was that people with boats would accumulate or gather at the yacht squadron, and we'd invite disabled kids on board with their parents, and we sailed up the Port River into Port Adelaide and then back down to the yacht squadron. It's a 10-mile run up there and a 10-mile run back, so 20 miles at 5 nights, it's 4 hours. And so, you know, it was a lovely day. We all dressed up in our whites and Commodore outfits and peak caps and all that sort of stuff, and it was just a lovely day. And I enjoyed it, and the kids enjoyed it, and we raised a lot of money. My sister-in-law was in Hornsby Hospital and dying. She had lung cancer plus other cancers. My wife's sister called me into her room and said, look, is there anything you can do to benefit my 2 children? So I said, if you can persuade your husband to agree to go to joint tenancy, or tenants in common, then you will safeguard your children to the value of half the house, whatever it realises. So I hopped in the car and went to Hornsby, to a little shopping centre, and I looked for a solicitor, and I found one up a flight of stairs, went up there, and I was well dressed. I had my Bermuda jacket on and my little Rotary badge on the lapel, and he said to me, you're in Rotary? And I said, yes. And I said, are you in Rotary? He said, yes, I am. I said, can you help me? And he said, yes, I will. And anyway, it was all done and dusted within a couple of days, and she died about a week later. I had the Rotary badge on, and that was so important that it made the connection between me and the lawyer, and he believed what I was on about, and he jumped to it immediately. The power of a Rotary badge, and it's got that power worldwide. I knew when I joined the club, it was one thing that you learnt, that was that the club had a charitable trust fund. And the idea was to attract money for distribution to worthwhile charities. In 2008, the then president, Peter White, asked me if I would review the operations of the Charitable Trust Fund, and we set our sights on the 50th anniversary of the Charitable Trust Fund to raise the capital to $1 million. And anyway, we were getting very close to the $1 million by the 11th of December 2018, its 50th birthday. And we were $54.60, I think it was, short of $1 million. So I immediately transferred that to the bank accounts of the trust fund. So I could go to the luncheon the following day and say, we got $1 million. So, and that was it. That fund is now worth $1.3 million. And in the last couple of months, the club has brought into existence the community awards scheme, where people apply to the club for funds to assist their projects. That was started in May of this year, the first round of these community awards, and in July we distributed something like $50,000 or $40,000 to 3 beneficiaries. I've been in the club for 47 years, and what was it like back 50 years ago? In those days, the club was made up of the owners, the chairman of, the CEOs of major companies within South Australia. And all these people worked together, and they belonged to things like Rotary. And there wasn't too many other organisations that they would belong to. Rotary attracted those people because Rotary was set up originally in Chicago when things were pretty depressed. And Paul Harris, as I understand it, got a lot of his business people around a table and said, "We've got to help each other out. We are in a depression or a recession. If we help each other, we'll be all right." In the last 50 years, of course, South Australia has suffered enormously through the lack or the departure of major businesses. So has it changed? Yes, of course it has changed. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? It's inevitable. And the trick is to go with it. And that's not easy, I don't think. There are huge pressures on people these days. My family, my sons-in-law, 2 sons-in-law, and my 2 daughters, if you ask them to join an organisation like Rotary, they'd say, "There's no way in the world I've got time." And these days there are so many organisations that professional people and business people and academics and tradespeople could belong to if they've got 1 hour or 2 hours a week to participate in something. I'm entitled to go to any Rotary Club meeting anywhere in the world, and you're welcome with open arms. And as a gesture of goodwill, you take your own club banner and you hand it to the president of the club that you're visiting and saying, "This is our club banner, and we send our greetings and good wishes to the members of your club." And they would then hand over one of theirs to you. And that's how I got 1 or 2 of them. And those banners are significant in that they're a recognition of the common community of members throughout the world. Terribly important, because the only tangible thing that you can really carry simply, you take a banner, and that's recognised throughout the world as being the symbol of friendship and courtesy.